Hey guys! Welcome back to What You Saying. You know, a gender equality podcast that focuses on gender equality, race, sexuality, the whole shebang, guys. Not all of it. I am the host, the one you see the most.
Very true.
Now I made myself laugh. Grace
Very good. Very good rhyming.
along with my other host.
Hi, I'm Kara Stevens. Probably haven't seen me very much. I don't. But I'm back and I'm alive. And we're ready to go.
So, shall we start, Karis?
Yes,
What
so
is today's topic?
this week we're doing the adult film industry and sex and relationships on screen and how that influences how we see each other.
Whoa.
Whoa, that's a mouthful.
That's a mouthful. That's a pretty mad topic to talk about. Oh my gosh, so sorry. I'm trying to bring up my notes. No, but keep rolling, keep going. Yeah.
So I guess, should we start with sex and relationships on screen?
Yes.
And then build up to the more controversial topic?
Yep.
Okay.
How do you want to start it off? Take us away.
Okay, I'm going to go with something that we're familiar with because it's easy to start
It's easy
there.
to start off 100%.
I'm actually going to go with a sex education reference, which I know we've covered a lot of.
Oh, we have a lot of sex ed slander.
I know, we have a lot.
So much.
But I think there's an area of it that we haven't actually covered yet, which is...
haven't?
Yeah, there's a particular scene
Okay.
which I think is like really progressive and like hasn't been shown on pretty much any other, you know...
Oh, so right now we're bigging up sex education.
I'm bigging it up.
Wow, this is something new.
I know, it's different for
Yeah.
us. But so there's a scene with Isaac and Maeve. Now he's like a disabled character, which is for one, he is legitimately disabled.
Yeah.
Like they actually hired someone who is actually, you know, fit for the
Fits
role.
the role, yeah. 100%.
They don't hire someone who's
Big them
like,
up.
you know,
Yeah.
fake.
I hate when like in films they hire someone that doesn't actually fit the role, or they just get like someone like
it seems so inappropriate.
Yeah, it's just like there's so many people who can do that role, who are available and who are like can do it, but
yeah, I think it's kind of exploitative, if anything, because
exactly.
it you know, it creates a false trust.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've said that before, but you know. Yeah, so it's actually the scene between Isaac and Maeve. It's very intimate. Like the whole time she is asking him, you know, what do you like? Where do you want to go with this? And you don't really have a lot of scenes in film like that where it's really like communicative.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, trying to establish what he needs in that situation as someone where she hasn't interacted with anyone like that before.
Yeah,
so we assume from the show.
Yeah.
And, you know, it gives a really good example. Probably like for people who can relate to Isaac, that probably make them feel so great to see like, that finally some kind of representation in like a teen show like this. I mean, I know that's kind of the whole premise of the show.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like there's with sex education, even though we like bash it a bit, you know, we still love you guys. There are some positive highlights, and especially like how you said that. It's like I'm literally just remembering that episode, and I'm like, oh yeah,
it was actually like really beautiful.
It was really beautiful to see.
Sweet.
It was like really good because it's like you rarely see things like that, and it's just like, oh, why have we not really seen things like that? And it's like it's a kind of like a new outlook of things, and saying like, oh yeah, appreciating other people that have not been seen on the industry, and it's like with the industry, it's such a big platform. So the fact that we haven't done that already, it's like big up sex ed. Big up sex ed. Wow.
Definitely.
Wow, guys. Wow. But yeah, no, literally.
No, it's very cool.
Yeah, no, big up sex ed. Not really. Yeah, again.
No, for real.
Yeah.
Because like I would say that is an example of very good representation of sex and relationships, because you could take, I don't know, there's a lot of other examples that could contradict that, but I would say that's predominantly a good example.
I mean, another thing to big up with sex education, in a lot of films, they always show like heterosex.
Yes, exactly.
Heteros. You know, heterosex. And with sex education, even like the first episode, like in season 1, you see like all types of different sex. Someone dropped an item at the back and I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. They need to be kicked out. Don't worry. If it's Condi, don't worry, Condi, I love you. But yeah, it's like with sex education, they do show an aspect of all types of sex that can be seen, especially like today. We were talking about sex ed as a whole and how like even in school, in like education, they only show like heterosex at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Like even, oh my gosh, I think I was in year 8, came into class and they had a banana in a condom. Whoa. Whoa, guys, whoa. And then even the condom was expired. And I was like...
Yeah, it's not a way to like
weird,
teach people.
Okay, I'm tall, I know, that's it. But then it's like there's other different ways of sex that people are unaware of that people should be educated about. So sex education does highlight it in some sort of way, you know, which is really good.
Yeah, I think the poor education for like sex in schools is primarily like why young people are so driven to like the porn industry and like things like OnlyFans and stuff like that, because they try and like understand their sexual identity through film media, which is why seeing it in shows or films is so important to how we view each other. Like for example, Billie Eilish, she actually came on and said that porn like melted her brain, like she felt like it really like ruined her. And I mean, I can agree with that on like behalf of a lot of other people that I know who can relate to the fact that porn is very corrupt and it presents a false image of real love. It's like, but there also can be like, so there's an article in The Guardian about a woman who is a sex worker, and she was saying how she actually found Billie Eilish's comment incredibly destructive because she, as a sex worker, sees her performance as art and expression. And as a plus size woman, she thinks what she's doing is very progressive and shows like a really good like representation of, you know, how she sees herself for other people who may like feel the same way. And so she was like really standing up for her, you know, her craft and everything that she does. And I think, you know, there's can porn ever be safe is the question. Like what sides of it are, you know, classified as art and what sides of it are classified as corrupt.
Because I feel like with porn, everything is quite merged in together. It's not like you were saying, it should be all categorized as like things, you know. And then I was reading this one article talking about how like pornography can also bring up like rape culture and things like that. And it's like, okay, people do this like act upon things, and it's like you know how they would do like little plays, like they would make it like a whole scene, things like that,
like role play,
like a little role play thing. And it's like sometimes with the role play cannot be in a way that it looks like it's actual sexual consent, you know. It will look like almost they're taking away someone's consent and just doing things to them, which it's like how are we going to be able to like dissociate like the differences of like actual consent and something that's you're just raping the person, like you're not actually
for real.
like having an enjoyable relationship with someone when having sexual intercourse with each other, you know. And it's like pornography, it's like it's a mad thing. It
really
like
is.
Fun fact, guys, lesbian porn is the most watched porn.
It's very insane. It says a lot about like
it does
how
say a
lesbian
lot.
relationships are
I feel like a lot of people always talk about lesbians all the time. People always have something to say about lesbians. Guys, leave the lesbians alone. Leave them. Leave them. They left you, so you leave them. Like, you know, let me not go on a rant. It's not very P of me.
Let me not go off.
But yeah, like pornography is like, it's a thing, and it's like I feel like everyone has their own interpretation of pornography, unless like you do like not deep research, but like read some things about pornography and like how, like you said, how about the person who said that they feel like pornography is the way they show their form of art and things like that, whilst Billie Eilish feels as if it was like sort of a traumatizing like thing that they have experienced, you know. And it's like mix of match of things, like there's never really a right answer. It's always just depends on the person's perspective, you know, because Billie Eilish is not in the perspective of the sex worker, you know. So it's like,
I think it's easily to like become obsessed with porn. Like I know a lot of people who have, and I think it's because there's a complete detachment from seeing it as something that's human. I think you see it as an object. You see it as like a point of, you know, it's not, you don't see it as like when you watch a film that is, say, a realistic film, like you see it and you kind of want to reflect yourself. You see a reflection of yourself in it. I don't think it's the same as in porn. I think people have a desire for it, but there's a detachment because it's almost like, it's like, it goes back to like peep shows, which is like, this is like a big thing that's influenced porn culture. Peep shows? So during the like late 60s, there was a massive boom in the need for porn, especially like visual porn. And in like New York Times Square, it absolutely went crazy, where people could literally in their lunch break just go off and go and look through these binoculars and just look at like a series of photos of people naked.
Yeah.
And then it developed, because they're making so much money out of it. It became this massive commercial thing where you can just go into buildings after buildings. There were about 450 establishments just in Times Square where you can go and just watch porn films, watch live sex shows. It was absolutely insane. And I mean, a lot of porn has originated from America, not primarily, but I know a lot of it has. And I think that is like really like, you know, that probably like
that's pretty mad.
Pushed it ahead.
That's
like,
pretty mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. People go on their lunch breaks.
Yeah, literally. It's insane. Like, there's a documentary about, it's called the Times Square Killings on Netflix, and it's basically talking about how toxic this culture is and how it influenced like much darker things like violence and murder.
Exactly.
How because people just, it becomes really animalistic and you completely detach from it being something that you can relate to. It's like, it just becomes this object. It's like a piece of food. Yeah. Like you're consuming it without really remembering like how important it is to you. And yeah.
No, I like the fact that you added the fact that like with pornography, it's not, it sometimes almost feels like it's not reality. It almost feels like it's a fantasy, and it's like it's a whole different world, you know. Definitely. Almost like it's not like actual reality and things like that. And especially playing with like the role plays and things like that, it's like adding more to, okay, this is not like real life. You're almost like viewing it as if it's like a TV show. Yes, almost, entirely. You know, because like of TV, movie, animation, anything like that, it's not a real world. It's like this own universe of things, you know. So it's like, it's pretty mad, because it's just like those are actually things that people are doing in real life, you know. Even sometimes it may not actually be a play, it might not be role play, you know, things like that. So I really like how you added that fact about that. It's like, it's real life, you know, things like that.
Well, to be honest, I think there's always been a desire to see sex in some kind of, in an art way or in a visual way, because even if you go back to like the 1800s, or to be honest, if you walk into any gallery, you're bound to find like paintings of people who are naked in some kind of display. Like most paintings that were produced in like the Renaissance period contained like nude people, because it was like, I don't know, it's like seen as like a religious aspect, isn't it?
What's it called? Sculptures.
Yes, exactly.
Or one of them, there has to be a nipple. There always has to be a little nipple like peeking out of nowhere. Like that's such an odd thing, you know, because it's just like, I understand, of course, always express your body and things like that, but it's like, it's always there. It's always there. Turn around, you know, like, oh, okay, yeah, go off, you know. like all the time. I remember when I was younger, we'll go to like a little museum, and then we'll see like the man's penis, and people like it was just like,
no, literally.
I don't know the meaning behind it. I didn't read the little thing when I was younger. Sorry guys, you know, big up the artist though. Like it's just like there's a lot of things that you would consume, especially in museums, like so simple places that you would go to. So with the art galleries, with the museums and the sculptures of things like that, you know, it's just like pretty mad. So
I feel like this is very broad, but I feel like as humans, like the only thing that we really are familiar with is our need to reproduce. Like it's a heterosexual thing, like excluding any other form of sexuality. I mean, like humans as a thing, they're very sex driven, but I think we have this awareness that we need to reproduce. Yeah. And I think it's the only thing that really grounds us in life. Like we don't really know any other reason as to why we're here. Yeah. Or anything like that. And I feel like
would like to play devil's advocate and disagree.
Okay.
I think maybe more in the past, not saying that you're old, not saying that you're old, like old babe, you know, just I think more now, I don't feel like reproducing is like a need. Oh, no, I'm not saying that that's your main goal. No. I'm not coming at you, Gareth. No, Gareth. Let's be besties, please. No, but I think like more as humans, as a general, we have more of like a wider range of things.
Definitely.
You know, like maybe more like when you're talking about the New
No, I
York
think,
thing
like,
and looking at
when
the
it,
little
like,
people.
developed, like when you look at like traditional
traditional things,
that's
for
what I
sure,
mean.
for sure.
I feel like obviously now there's a very different sense
very
of
different.
expression.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it's probably where it kind of started.
No, I'm still thinking about that peephole thing. You know, that's mad, you know.
It's
actually,
like
you're actually gonna go on your lunch break. People are smoking. You're gonna go to a peephole.
This guy in the show, he literally would go at his lunch break and he would just watch like live sex shows and go and like all these photographs of people.
Is that what you're on?
It's kind of barbaric to think of how.
Was it like an open store, so like people know where you're going?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people know where you're going. It's like completely labelled. They actually like the only thing that changed it from being such a big thing and like porn dominating like high streets and stuff like that was through like feminism, actually. What? Ironically. Yeah.
Woo! Big up the feminists.
Yeah. Literally, because they were like, it started after like the Vietnam War and stuff like that, and there was like a, you know, people were saying there was a poster that actually said like, bombing countries is like fucking for virginity. So it's like like that kind of debate was like provoked a lot of people into being like, okay, like obviously this kind of sex industry is like taking over, and it's anti-feminist, it's being very like corrupt, and it's provoking violence, it's provoking like, you know, tragedy.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I saw, guys, Cerys made like little notes. I'm looking at the little notes. Big up, Cerys. I saw something you said, just Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes, Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah, I watched a bit of, there's this one documentary that's on Netflix and it's talking about Jeffrey Epstein. Didn't finish it though. I'm so sorry.
It's so
I'm
intense.
so sorry. If I feel like uncomfortable when watching something, I literally will just cut. I'll cut immediately. Won't look back. Like, it's been a year. It's still on my Netflix saying like continue watching. I'm not going back to that. And it's like that whole story of it, it's so mad. Like it almost feels like so surreal. And it's like there's so many like celebrities that are like behind the thing. And it's like also, okay, do I want to be, I'm not controversial. But it was said, if I'm correct, it was said that he killed himself in the prison. Coincidentally. Do you think he did?
I think it was very... So actually, in that documentary, the autopsy report actually revealed that when he died, there's a part of his like jawbone that was broken, which is very, very unlikely from the like strangulation. But obviously, the documentary is to provoke like conspiracy and stuff like that. But I don't know. It was so coincidental that he just happened to die the day that he was, it was like 2 days after he was put in incarceration. And also he went and sorted out his will. I think it was like either 2 or 3 days prior to being incarcerated, he went and sorted out his will and like rearranged all his settlements. Yeah. And you have to have like a really valid reason for that in like law relating to like going into incarceration to like change your will, because it's like, especially when you're Jeffrey Epstein, have as much money as you do, and you're going in for, you know, procuring minors for sex. So I don't know. No. I don't know.
We'll never know. But I think like his whole story, not even his story, especially like the victims that it happened to, like I literally feel so bad for them. And it was like, if I remember it, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, please don't cancel me. It was that the people would come there and it would be like a little job thing. Yeah. Like people are like, oh yeah, I met this guy. He said that like, or it would be like, he likes my paintings, or he would just wants to do a little massage thing, and he'll pay you like this much money, you know, and people would like bring their friends, and then there'll be like, some of the friends would literally work with him and they'll be aware of like everything that he's doing and will continuously bring their friends in.
It's so messed up.
Which is like, it's so messed up because it creates this whole chain of things, and it's like...
Yeah, pyramid scheme.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like they're allowing this person to basically take sexual advantage of them just because, okay, he had money or things like that, you know, because of his like name and things like that, you know. And it's just like, why would you want, like, I don't even know. It's just, money is mad, you know. Money is mad. That should be a topic for the next podcast. Money is mad. Money is mad. And it's the fact that like those people who are friends with those people who are bringing them in, it's like they're aware of what he's doing. And whatever money that they were given they thought, yeah, that's okay for me to do that deed, you know, and to allow that man to do those things to my friend, my so-called quote unquote friends. You know,
it was targeting people who were really desperate.
Exactly.
Because he needed the money. That's why it's so messed up. Because it was planned and it went throughout communities and beyond hundreds of girls literally were involved in it. And there's a woman at the moment, Virginia, I literally can't remember her last name now because she got remarried after leaving Jeffrey Epstein. Well, she wasn't never with him. I just mean she was forced to stay alongside him as a masseuse. But she was actually one of the people who was sexually assaulted by Andrew, Prince Andrew. Yeah. And he regrets all association with her. And there's a photo of her, Virginia, with Ghislaine Maxwell and Prince Andrew. Yeah. And in Ghislaine Maxwell's London house. Mm-hmm. And he's this photo never happened. I was so drunk, I can't remember it. And he's now been, he's been stripped of all his royal titles, which is great. But what else are you going to do with that? Because there were on the island, the Jeffrey Epstein island, there was someone who worked there and he was an eyewitness to him, Prince Andrew, assaulting this girl, Virginia, in a pool. He saw it prior to even any of these accusations, and he was one of the witnesses that added to this whole case against him. Exactly. But because of his royal titles, they're still not. I mean, obviously they've been eradicated now, but he also still has that reputation, so they're not doing anything to pursue legal action. Yeah, and it's this whole view of people and how you can't take down this person because they're so high up in the chain. They're just non-human. You know, you can't bring them down because he may have done this, but he's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's rich. He's related to the Queen. Yeah, he's related to the Queen. No, just shut up. That doesn't work. That literally doesn't work. If it was anyone else, he would probably see much harsher punishment. But because he's white, he has money. He is part of the royal family, and has they're just privilege. Try to put it aside and things like that. It's just I think it's just so idiotic because it's just we can't be doing that because then we always talk about how we put this hierarchy of people we kind of dismiss. Let me just say it as an example, celebrities and just the regular society and things like that, and how we dismiss them as two different things. And we can't the celebrity wouldn't go to McDonald's, that celebrity that's just a small example of things. And it's we shouldn't be, is it dissociating the right word? I don't know. I feel I'm not using the right word. I feel we put them on a platform. Put them on a platform that shouldn't exist at all. I feel it should just be plain Jane. Yeah. Just ride the boat. Especially when they've done heinous things. Exactly. Especially when they do those heinous things. They stretch it out. They stretch it out for so long. I was watching this thing about O.J. Simpson. In it. That story was mad. It was so mad to watch because it was just people would always go back and be but it's OJ, but it's OJ, but it's OJ. Okay, he killed his wife. OJ. I don't okay, what does that mean? He actually committed murder. He actually murdered someone. That's pretty mad that people just don't acknowledge it because they have this quote unquote royal title of some sort, obsession with the fact that they're a role model for them. Exactly. So, they've looked up to them their whole life and they can't see past the fact that they are this corrupt person. It's Ghislaine Maxwell, she isn't facing anything at the moment because she's denying any involvement in it at all, and it's getting on my nerves so much because if you hear the accounts of the survivors, they will detail how she was actively present and taking part in almost all of the actions that happened between Jeffrey Epstein and the the victims. So it's it's just some mad thing. It's just some mad thing. It's just really is. Yeah. What time is it? Okay. Shall we talk about what shall we move on to now? I know, I'm scrolling. I'm scrolling through, guys. These notes are wham. We shall be taking a break, guys. Hey guys, we came up from a little mini break. Whoa, and we're back. We are back. Oh, did my camera just move a bit? Was it not in place?
Audio listeners, my camera was shaking, so I was going crazy. So, Cerys, what are you going to be talking about now after our break?
Well, now we're back from our break. I was actually going to talk about another article because apparently that's what we talk about a lot.
Articles are great. They inform you of so many things.
They actually do.
10-10.
Yeah, they're so good. So I actually found this from New York Times Vulture. There's an actor called Colton Haynes, and if you haven't heard of him, he played a role in Arrow as some guy called Roy Harper. He's also in Teen Wolf as, I think his name is Jackson Whitmore, but I could be wrong. Yeah. Okay. I was right. And he's been in other roles as well. He's also cast in American Horror Story, actually. I haven't watched the season, but he plays someone. So yeah,
I'm just thinking about Teen Wolf. But
he's like, have you watched Teen Wolf?
Yeah, but
he's like the jock type, really angsty like guy.
Yeah. I was about to say spoiler, but I'm not gonna do that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that guy. He's actually so cool. Like, really rate that guy. Anyway, he did an article on New York Times Vulture, which he wrote himself, and he's basically talking about how going into the industry, he was very like confident in his like identity as being gay. And, you know, he was even prior to being like in like modeling and acting, he was like he used to do like phone sex and stuff like that to get his like money and things.
Money up,
and he used to go to like rodeo clubs and his like most of his early relationships were with very much like older guys and stuff like that. When he was like 14, he was dating people who were like in their 40s and older. And so
that's a bit worrying though.
Yeah, I know. But he was just trying to like express how comfortable he was within his sexuality. But going into the industry, so he was always very like assured in his like appearance. That's what he primarily talks about. But going into the industry, he was like reduced by like they reduced him because they said that, you know, your mannerisms are too gay, you have too many affectations, even the way you speak is too gay, like you have the face that we need for the industry. However, everything that you have in every way that you express yourself will damage your image and will not get you the roles that you need.
Sorry, I just need to cut you through. The way he speaks is
he literally
gay.
He said that in the article he talks about how he went into speech therapy to literally like change the way he pronounces things like S's and R's to like make it
You're
more
lying.
brooding. No, I'm not. Read the article.
What?
I'm not like
what?
It's absolutely insane. Like
what?
I know it's barbaric because
I'm like out. What?
Literally because he was taught that like, you know, his identity is not going to be accepted in Hollywood industry. It's all about selling an image, and that appeals to the role of like heteronormative like ideals and whatnot. And he did not comply to that, quote unquote. And it is horrible because he was 18 going into the industry, and you know he was forced to play in Teen Wolf. He's a straight man. Later on, obviously not. If you have watched the show, but you know he.
Spoiler,
sorry guys. It's not that big of a spoiler, but and other show he was in, Roy, as when he played Roy Harper in Arrow, he dates Thea, and he's just like a straight male in the show, and he actually talks about how he had to leave the show for mental health problems because he had to falsify his sexuality. And it's like, what is the ethics of that? Because it's like if it was the roles were reversed and it was someone who was straight playing a role that was like gay, that would be seen as very progressive and that would be accepted. But in the other way, it seems almost like, you know, you're trying to eradicate someone's sexuality. So it's a very complicated topic.
That's pretty mad because when thinking about like Teen Wolf, I always think about that one gay character. I forgot his name.
Yeah, but if you think about in that show, he's literally so like Colton Haynes in the show. He's brooding and he's angry.
Biggest op did not like him.
Yeah, no one likes him, but like that is not his personality in any way. You don't think that that's who he is. And also he came out as gay, I think, when he was in his early 30s because he just couldn't handle the fact that, you know, he was known in the industry as he had to deny, like, he was seen with this woman and he had to
like articles and things like
and everyone was suspecting they were together and he wasn't allowed to deny it. He had to just, you know, not say anything about it for months. He had a speculated relationship with her for 6 months. And
I feel like there's so many, like even with jocks, okay, I know we're not really like talking about jocks too much, but I think about like in what's it called? Teen Wolf, he was playing as a jock, you know, and they're like always seen as like very strong and things like that, and like hetero and all of that. It's like I think about Glee. Have you watched Glee?
I actually haven't, but I know a lot about it. I know. I'm sorry.
Love Glee. It's really
good, from what I know. I like the songs.
Yeah, it did become horrible. Not gonna lie, I did mention Glee in the last episode, guys. I'm not rewatching Glee. I'm just telling you this. But there's this one character. He's a jock, and he was gay, and I was like, I think that was like kind of like a thing. I was like, oh my god, he's changing different norms and things like that. But it's the fact that like how you're highlighting the fact that he was gay, but he was like in real life and was unable to play this role of being like gay himself, you know. And it's like, understand in the acting scene you do play this kind of character, but then it's like sometimes it's really toxic towards yourself. Completely. If you have to play like especially a straight character, and it's just like, what does that say about you in the industry? Like, oh, I'm not accepted. The industry doesn't accept me for who I am, and how am I meant to grow as a person if I'm still not able to show this light of me, to show that I am a proud gay person, you know, and I want to like show that in my act. I made like, he could still have been like the meanest person ever, biggest up, but he could be gay, you know, that would have been perfectly fine. No one would have been like, oh yeah, we hate you, like it wouldn't have been anything. So that's pretty mad that he's done multiple like shows and he's always continuously had to be the straight person. And the fact that
because he wanted success, and that's the only way that he was accepted to do it.
And like how he fit the role and things like that, but you're gay.
It was actually like a really horrible reaction. Like I was so outraged when I read this part of the article. He said that part of what he was saying was that he was forced to do like live sex acts, like fake sex, but they had to be stripped down like butt naked, including women as well with their breast out, and him with his like genitalia out and everything. And part of these like drama rehearse groups to be comfortable with like being on scene and stuff like that. And there was an agent who was interested in him. Yeah. And his manager was like, he's only partly interested. I need you to kind of like pique his interest more. I need you to go to the agent dressed in an open button shirt and wearing a cowboy hat, and I need you to present some files to him and just pique his interest. So Colin Haynes, thinking it's ridiculous, he's like, oh my god, this is insane, but I'm going to do it anyway because I really need this agent to push my career forward. So he does it. The agent doesn't like him, even regardless of the fact that he did this, and the manager drops him from the agency and says, I know you need money, so I'm going to give you the name of this person, which is like a website, and when he gets home, it's called rentboys.com, and it's a site for sex workers. Yeah, he was referred to being a sex worker because he wasn't accepted in the industry. Like, they were like, well, you obviously like, but that all relates to him being gay, isn't it? Because that's the assumption that like gay men are promiscuous, and it's like, it's just so messed up.
It's like, why continuously in films, they always just try to, not even just in films, in the whole reality, they always trying to change someone's sexuality. They're always just like, yeah, no, that's incorrect. You shouldn't be that. You shouldn't be that. You shouldn't be that. And it's like, and I don't know if I don't even care about perspective. It's just simple respect. If someone is gay, you have to just accept that they're gay. You can't be like, no, you can't be that because that's not the look, that's not the trend right now, things like that. For you to fit in this industry, you can't be gay, you can't be this, you can't be that. And it's like, you're literally stripping away someone's personality. Not personality, but someone's person, like themselves, you know? And it's like, that's so disgusting for them to do that and think that that's okay. And especially to just then be like, oh yeah, you're not good in the film industry, but you'll be good for Rent a Boy.
Yeah. No, it's messed up because even when he eventually came out in his 30s, he received so much hate from people who were openly gay. They were calling him cowards, like saying like, you know, what you did was so like, you could have come out years ago. Oh my God, you could have come out years ago, but you didn't because you were a coward. And it's like, that is just so horrible. Like, so you give someone's had the courage to like open themselves up when being recognized as straight because of the roles that they've been forced to play. And it's like,
I feel like sometimes in the LGBTQ plus industry, whoa, is this a company? In the LGBTQ community, there's like a leader in here. In the community, I feel like a lot of the time, it's not really accepting. at times. Even though we should be a very like accepting community, it's not too accepting because it's just like, okay, we don't understand his perspective of life. Yeah. He's like, bless him for creating this article and actually giving us like a view of his life. But even before then, we didn't know it. Yep. We didn't know anything like that. So even for him to come out late, that doesn't even mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't change anything.
It doesn't discredit him at all.
Exactly. It's like there's sometimes with some people, I'm not saying that he was this, but there's some people in this world who will be like very in denial of themselves because of like the people that they live with, like the lifestyle that they're living, and like the people around them. They're like, oh no, it's only okay to be straight. It's only okay to be straight. So then it's like you can be in denial for so many years and then finally accept yourself. Like recently, in school we watched this movie called Pride, and then there was this old Donnie, sorry, there was this old guy, and I don't know, it was in like a little village, and he like came out as gay to someone. They were like spreading jam and butter and things like that. I'm trying to like describe the scene, but anyway. And he was like, oh, I'm gay. And the woman like responded, was like, oh yeah, that's okay. And he was quite old. He's like an old fella, like let's say good 50s, 60s, you know? Yeah. And it's like, there's probably someone in the LGBTQ plus community that will be like, oh, you came out late. Oh, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I don't think it should ever be bashed.
And I literally feel like you should just always at least support the person because they've come to an acceptance of themselves, which sometimes it's so hard to do in the community, as well as with yourself, to accept that, okay, I am a gay person, you know, and I'm comfortable with telling the people around me that I am gay, you know? And it's just like the fact that he's gone and explained it to people and he's trying to really be himself in the industry, and people are denying it as a whole is really like frustrating.
I feel like as a society we have a lot of inbuilt homophobia, regardless of whether we're accepting of like the LGBTQ plus community or not. Like whether we're a part of it, I think like, you know, with the backlash that he received for coming out, and it's like I can't remember his name, but the guy who was on the One Show. Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking? No, wrong show. Wrong show. What's the show with like Holly and the morning show? Yeah.
The one is Good Morning Britain.
Oh, was it Philip Schofield? Yeah, he came out as gay very late after being married and having children, and literally he received so much like such contradicting responses of people being very accepting, and then the other half being like, what the hell? Like, you should take pride in who you are. You're not part of this community if you're not coming out when it's acceptable. You come out way too late. Yeah. There's barely any time for you to even express this part of yourself. So what are you doing? But it's like, what? Yeah, no, that is a horrible response. That is horrible. Yeah. And it's like, this is an old guy who's obviously struggled with his, you know, his sexuality, and he's has the courage to finally be honest about it. Yeah. And it's just being completely disrespected.
It just shouldn't be a thing that should happen in the industry. Like, in the industry, why do I keep saying the industry? In the community, it shouldn't happen.
You know, in sex education, going back to it. There's the autism mother, she has a baby when she's older.
Yeah, exactly.
That's something, when I watched it, I was like, I hadn't really considered that as like a thing before. That whole kind of like thing with older mothers having babies at that age. It's like a weird bias towards old people having like a younger life.
Yeah, it's definitely seen as like a taboo. Yeah. Like,
hopefully sound caught everything Lily was saying.
Yeah, good. That was very valid.
Yeah, add subtitles. Yeah, oh, that'll be so cute. Yeah, that'll be so cute. But yeah. Be accepting, guys.
Yeah, man.
Accept people. They may come out so late, but it's because just things happen in people's lives. They don't tell you everything in it, like social media and things like that. Some things happen to people in their lives, and you should just be like happy and accept the fact that they actually kind of came out. Because there's so many people in this world who haven't come out due to like their family members and the fear and the backlash and like that 60-year-old man like in Pride, and like imagine if he never came out. Yeah. You know how much that could probably hurt the person. Sorry, someone put a hand up. Yeah, the woman does say she already knew in the film. Yeah. Yeah. But don't you think that's a bit odd when people say that?
Yeah, people always say that. Like,
yeah, people be like, I knew you were gay. What are you talking about? Literally.
Shut the fuck up. Let me have my fucking moment.
Yeah.
What do you mean I already knew? Why didn't you tell me then? Why did you tell me? I just found out. They will say that.
Yeah, I feel like, what do you think about that? When people say, I already knew you were da.
It depends, honestly. If it's like someone who's like a close friend to that person and you like live very intensely with that person and they're like, I already knew, then it's like, okay, fair enough. But if it's like someone you barely know and they're like, I already knew, it's like, bitch.
It's just
it's so rude.
Literally just say congrats, pat my back and call it a day.
I don't think it's not someone else's like place to say how they defined you. It's like, oh, I already decided from day one that you were this person. It's like, okay,
you and I knew
good for you,
were a lesbian.
but just like leave.
I think some people don't know how to respond. I think just saying like that's okay is enough.
Yeah.
Also, don't say it doesn't matter. Like, in terms of, like, don't say, like, no one cares, it doesn't matter. Like, no one cares if you're gay. Like, just say, congrats, dude.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Swag.
Exactly. Swag.
To quote Ray, congrats, swag. That's the first thing. I'm going to make that my Instagram bio. But yeah, anything else we want to talk about today? We could talk about
Active
films.
progression.
Ooh, let's talk about that. I was about to like bash some films, but let's talk about like active things.
I feel like we need to like, focus on the positives. Like
Yeah, I feel like a lot in this podcast we always focus on the negatives and bash people. Like,
I think it's because it's interesting
like
to
we felt like a
explore
hate club.
perspectives towards it. This is a hate club,
yeah,
guys.
we're actually a hate club, guys. It's not called what you're saying. It's called Hate Club, Fight Club.
Fight Club.
Or which I actually recently watched Fight Club. Fight Club is mad. I actually get the hype. I actually understand it.
I haven't watched it yet. I'll watch it.
You haven't watched it? It's
I watched
on
like
Netflix.
half of it.
You've only watched
I
half?
was really tired.
Oh my God, I have watched half. I watched half and then went back
It was
to
really
it the next
like
day.
early in the morning.
But yeah, active progression.
The show It's a Sin.
I haven't
Very
watched
good.
that. We were talking about it today.
I watched the first few episodes. I haven't finished it yet because I lost my subscription, but I'm getting it back.
Where's
so it's
it on?
alright.
Where's it on?
It was on.
Is it-
Yeah, I think I was watching it on Channel 4.
Channel
but
4.
it won't let me access it for some reason. Anyway, yeah, it's a very
Bring
good.
back Cerys' Channel 4, guys.
Yeah, please,
Come on.
please bring back Channel 4. I miss you.
Bring back Channel 4 for Cerys. But what would you say your ratings for the show, for the progression of it, and like how, like what is the show, if you can explain it briefly, because I literally do not know the show.
It's basically talking about the perspectives of like various different men who are gay and they come together and come from different backgrounds, and it's basically the role of AIDS within their lives, because it's set during like the 80s, which was like the boom of AIDS essentially, and it's basically like trying to like debunk all these myths and assumptions about it, and actually how like big of an impact it had on people's lives. And there was a massive like fear towards it. There's a massive like, I mean, even with Princess Diana, like she was really like, everyone was really loved the fact that she went and like shook hands with people who had AIDS and was trying to like really, like I said, like debunk all the myths about it being this horrible thing. I think it's because no one knew what it was about. Yeah. But It's a Sin is really good in like displaying the more, it displays it as a human thing, because for so long it's been seen as like this really horrible, like very terrifying disease because it takes over your life and there's no like definitive cure for it. There's medication and it can lessen the actual disease, but it doesn't get rid of it. Yeah. So I think, It's a Sin is very, very good. And also, it's also just a beautiful show. Everything about it, very aesthetically pleasing. But besides all that,
are there any like other shows that you would say like had like a good representation when coming towards like sex, besides sex education, which we love you guys so much?
Okay, I'm gonna bring some up. Euphoria.
My favorite shit I've been watching recently. I'm going to say this right now. I dislike Rue. Come at me right now. What do you think about Rue?
She is a bit annoying. I'm not gonna lie.
Bit.
A bit.
A bit. Mike said a bit. Vibes. Have you watched episode 3?
I haven't watched the second season.
How am I chatting to her?
I haven't.
What?
Because I have to watch 1, 2, 3 movies and I haven't got access to it yet.
Don't say
but I'll
that.
sort it out.
You know, we post this podcast on everything. You know, don't say that.
Okay, cut that out.
Yeah,
Cut that out. Oh, I haven't watched it yet. I don't have access to HBO. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, because we live in Britain. You know.
Yeah,
Actually, I've never watched the show. You know, don't know how I've ever watched it.
I would never pirate.
Actually, it's on Sky. I've watched the show. You know.
I don't have Sky. I'm not rich.
Yeah, you know, downloaded the season. But yeah, the way they display sex and sexuality. Oh,
I mean,
Euphoria. Oh, bye Chantelle.
Bye Chantelle.
Yeah, let's wrap things up. Okay, Chantelle, our queen, told us to wrap things up. We're not. Anywho, I'm joking, Chantelle. If you're listening to this, I love you so much. But with Euphoria, I mean, Curse and I were talking about this before. In films, they typically don't really show what's it called, men's genitals. You know.
Yeah, not that we like have a desire.
Not that we
to
have a desire.
see it,
No,
it's just not shown.
No, it's just not shown in general. Exactly.
In comparison to
women. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, women's
girls
yeehaws.
Gay. Anywho, you know, and it's like with. Why am I keep on wanting to say sex education? With Euphoria, they just literally just show it immediately, just like that, and they just keep it stepping. They just go show it. Cool.
It's because they're like, I think it's a show that tries to be really brutally honest and very explicit, but in a way that's informative and real. Mm-hmm. And it's bleak, but it's because it's like, I mean, because it's truth doesn't make it bleak, but I mean it's fact. Like it's not real. But I mean, then, you know. But
then again, I feel like the sexual aspect
of very aggressive.
Euphoria is so aggressive, and it's only made for men only. Like,
that's what Joe's saying about
like,
porn.
yo, Cal Jacobs, don't let me see you on site. So what? Like Nate's dad, he's a madman, you know. Yeah. He is so aggressive with anyone and everyone he is.
Which makes me so sad because I loved him in Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, okay. All I heard is, you loved him. And I was like, what? But then he finished your sentence.
No, in Grey's Anatomy. And then I was like,
not okay, I'm with you.
The episode where he's with Jules really, really sticks out in my brain. Like, it was just really, I know the whole point was to show it being aggressive and to show it kind of being a bit, like, very exploitative, but also, like, that's a relationship that exists. But it's also just like, yo.
Oh no, bro! I was watching it, and I was like, oh, bro,
it's just a lot.
This is so aggressive. It's so aggressive, and our cameraman Joseph Hill made a point that a lot of pornography is made towards men.
Yes.
You know, and I feel like Euphoria also adds
a male desire.
Yeah, which leads to this male desire.
Male
gaze, mentioned by Lily. Wow. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. But I think we need to wrap things up. You know, our camera team staring at us.
Yeah.
Ray, you know, our producers aggressively staring us down. Oh my gosh. But any last things that you would like to say, Karis?
Yeah.
Start singing.
Yeah, I'll just start singing for you guys. Yeah. Pick a tune.
Audience, what song do we want? Manzemi, say nothing.
You are beautiful.
Copyright.
Copyright. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys for airing me. I'm so happy. No copyright. But yeah, any last things?
No. Do you have any last things?
It's
great chat.
Great chat. 10-10. You guys watch Euphoria season 2. So I can actually chat to you, not Karis.
Okay, I'll watch it.
Watch it on Sky. HBO.
I don't have Sky.
Legal sites, guys. Watch it on legal sites. Don't, I'm not gonna mention any.
Yeah, let's actually cut that out.
Yeah, let's just cut that. Okay, we can
never happen.
It'll be so funny if he doesn't go.
But thank you guys for tuning in for today's episode.
Much.
See you next week.
See you next week. Bye.